Hello and welcome to this overview of Arch's product suite. Over the next 10 minutes or so, we're going to show you the power of Arch's technology to deliver complex multi-step processes that are seamlessly integrated into SAP. In this case, an HCM onboarding process. We'll touch on Stalo, used to create great custom Fiori apps, Varo for HTML and PDF e-forms, as well as Aquila for correspondence and contract management, and along the way, Flow for compelling HTML emails. In this process, we start from the Fiori launchpad, perhaps initiating a Stalo-enabled Fiori app, or in this case, a Varo e-form launched from a tile. Because Arch uses 100% SAP technology, the app is totally compliant with Fiori principles, looking and behaving as any other Fiori app would do. The UX is identical for the user. Now, mostly we launch non-HR forms based on the user's profile in SAP, so we can pre-populate the form based on their data and authorization profile. HR forms, like those we will use in this process, tend to be different in that we always need an HR object, an org unit or position or job or employee, because it's much easier for the user to pre-select that object before launching the form, so they don't have to do a search from within the form itself. So for HR forms, we tend to use dynamic links, passing in the particular object we require. The point is that I only see a list of appropriate organizational units based on my SAP role. When I select an org unit, I see the positions beneath that org unit. So I can select a vacant position to use for the new hire process. Let's do that. Before we start completing this form, let me tell you a little bit about it. For the technically minded, what you're looking at is actually a view on an SAP document, not a front end to a specific SAP transaction, BAPI or HR action. The form is built in HTML and with a responsive design, so it will work really well on mobile devices of different formats. The tabs along the top are where you can add attachments and view the history of the form, both out-of-the-box features of the product. You'll notice the grayed out areas contain the initiator information, but also the form ID that we use for audit, tracking and process start date. Of course, what your process needs is in your gift. And by the way, although we have chosen an SAP-like styling, these forms can adopt your corporate branding just as easily. Now the initiator adds data to the form. Through the magic of video editing, we will accelerate this process, but you will see that some fields are mandatory, others will be filled from an external recruitment system, while others still will appear dynamically, that is, in response to data entered earlier. The drop-down lists are being filled straight from SAP, and when data is entered, it is validated with checking on fields like working hours, negative salaries, dates in the past, and so on. All this is driven by business process. The technology supports pretty much any conceivable level of complexity. We saved your time, but in reality that only took a couple of minutes. The right data was collected and checked before submission, and once the initiator of the form had completed their part, we took over and routed the form and its cargo to the next stage. Before that, we send a confirmation message, so it's clear the system is happy. On submission, the form is routed for approval, and, based on its data, we can determine the budget holder. In this case, that would probably be linked to an organization hierarchy, but in other scenarios we have been asked to use the level of expenditure to route the form. As you can see, the approver can't change anything, but can read it to inform their decision as to whether to reject or approve the hire. Indeed, each participant can approve or reject until finally the form is ready for the next step, offer letter generation. At each stage, we can send out a really nice HTML notification email from Flow with an embedded link so that approvers can access the form from their email. Of course, it's really helpful to automate internal processes, but something else that's great about Arch technology is that it can reach outside the organization too. Here, the new recruit receives an automatically generated email that includes a personalized offer letter and some attached forms, all of which include information from SAP and the newly completed e-form. Once the recruit completes their part of the process, the internal team can complete their work by updating SAP. Let's look at that now. In some scenarios, the SAP update can happen immediately, and in others, a confirmation step is required. For example, when a wet signature is needed, or when you want a new employee to actually accept the offer before setting them up in SAP. In those scenarios, the form is routed to the HR team until the offer is confirmed. Only then does the form trigger updates to SAP HR. As before, the fields are locked down, but the HR team can add the signed contract and complete their work by submitting the form. If they're interested or have a question to answer, they can view the form's history. Some final notifications can be generated if that is helpful, to IT, facilities, payroll, or the form initiator. Okay, let's complete our demo by having a look at SAP itself. The employee record has been automatically created with the data from the eForm. Notice that the bank details are not there yet. They will be updated automatically by the new hire sending an offline form a little later. You can also see the system has attached the offer letter to the employee record. And here's the completion of the bank details form. This is a really nice capability, and it uses SAP Interactive Forms by Adobe. We can give the recruit the ability to submit their bank details by email and have them automatically update SAP. They don't need to sign on to SAP, but their information is directly updated to it via email without any intervention. As you can see, the bank details are now complete. That completes our demonstration. Thank you very much for your time today, and we hope you found this of interest.